Today I want to share something with you that has quite possibly changed my life forever. Or potentially ruined it. The software company Adobe, makers of an editing software known as Premiere Pro that myself and much of the film industry uses and considers a standard, recently made a small but big update to a little button in their audio processing functions. The little button is called Enhanced Speech. Now, this is a button they've been making iterations to over the last several years, and they recently updated it. And what it does is uses AI machine learning to make certain decisions about your audio and adjust frequencies to remove background noise and remove any echo and improve overall vocal dynamics. Now, what you should understand is I've spent the better part of a decade learning, practicing, investing in, and implementing sound techniques to get the cleanest audio of an on-video subject. And Adobe, with their most profound iteration of this feature, has potentially made that entire art form more or less obsolete. Now, this feature is far from perfect, but it has come a long way in just the last few years, and frankly, the last few months, into taking the most unforgivable audio environments and making them sound like crystal clear Hollywood sound stages. It has a lot of limitations to it. It sounds a little bit synthesized, and while Adobe claims that it is not synthesized, that it's just adjusting things, I think it works a little bit like Auto-Tune, where it's just making sort of synthetic adjustments. But even though it's not perfect, it can take pretty much any quality and at least bring it to a certain level of baseline. And I tried testing this in the field, out in the most extreme of audio conditions. It's only going to get better, much, much faster. It will certainly never get worse from this point forward. And I think everybody, with the rise of the term AI, has become a little bit fatigued and felt as almost the word holds a certain level of gimmick to it. And let's be honest, Levi is about 2 minutes from slapping powered by machine learning on a set of jeans. But I think professionally, almost everybody has felt the looming threat of the future of technology and the way it's going to change the landscapes of labor, jobs, professions, skills, and specifically art. Being in digital creativity and communication, I think the talk has been some of the loudest, especially with things like ChatGPT writing screenplays and OpenAI's recent release of Sora and the footage from that, which is absolutely 100% usable stock footage that is generated from text prompt. There's also software plugins that you can purchase that will edit your text to a text prompt, or edit your video to a text prompt. So I can type in what I want to be in the video or what I want to remove, and without any knowledge of how to use an editing software or how to edit at all, the AI will go through and make those additions, those cuts, those edits with a pretty surprising degree of accuracy. But even still, all of those things have never made me feel threatened or feared the security of what I do professionally. But something about this one was the biggest aha moment, because it was a tangible function that I could immediately implement into my day-to-day use without a paywall, without any sort of technical knowledge, without any sort of beta application to it. It just simply worked, and it worked really, really well. Professionally, I have already been using this to improve my work. Just the other day, it saved me in a really, really bad interview environment where I was able to take unusable audio and make it sound like the best audio I had ever recorded on set. It wasn't speculative. It was applicable changes that my career has made both to me and to my colleagues with the implementation and the use of artificial intelligence or machine learning or just technology in general. I'm not comfortable with saying to a 100% degree of certainty that I feel fear from this situation or that I feel like I will become obsolete, but it does heavily change the way that I feel I should be pushing my skill set and my focus and my mentality. I already have seen the door closing on editing being my most valuable skill. It has always been the skill that has made me the most money over cinematography. But recently I have seen that begin to change because my thinking is this: even though you can create AI-generated visuals There will never be a robot, at least probably not in my near lifetime, that will take a camera, go out, interact with a guest, and conjure up an interview with an emotional interview with a set of questions from a real person at a real location with a real camera. Now, you can synthesize those things, but I've been thinking recently and comparing it to processed foods. In the Industrial Revolution, farmers were heavily threatened and heavily impacted by the use of heavy machinery and industrial processing. While that did take out so many of the farmers, the vast majority of farmers in this America, and has conglomeratized them into one single thing, we as a culture have begun to counteract the sort of processed, mass-produced foods, not only for the health benefits and the health concerns, but also for a sense of soul. So when I think about what does a computer or technology or generated visuals bring to the table, one of the things that I don't see happening anytime soon is soul. And people connect to soul. Now, I'm very confident that one day a computer will be able to synthesize my soul just as well as the Earth did. But I don't feel like that's as imminent as my ability to open, save project, as apply an effect, and render out a video. I think that skill is just about to be completely irrelevant right over the horizon. So it puts a level of gravity on even what I'm doing right here and what I've been doing for the last 7 years. And this is just an emotional theorization off of the high of this new implementation that has impacted me so greatly that maybe, just maybe, my most valuable skill will not in fact be the technical abilities that I have to manipulate the current technologies into telling a story or to invoking emotion, but in fact expressing my own humanity and focusing on my art form and my product of being my own soul and humanity. Because as of right now, I see very little AI art that has any sort of real perspective and any sort of real message or voice. And while I'm sure that is right around the corner for very complex algorithms and language models to come in and swoop and take that from me, I think there will always be a percentage of the population, whether that's people I can make money off of or my own sense of humanity and connection, that will yearn for a product that, even though is identical to something made by a human, humans are social creatures, and at least for the next 50 years, I'm willing to bet humans will always prefer human productivity. Maybe. I could be all wrong.